Hello! If you're new here, hi, I'm Squid. Today I'm going to be attempting to beat Dark Souls Remastered with only the Bandit's Knife. If you haven't played Dark Souls, the Bandit's Knife is a dagger that does pretty low physical damage, but it applies the bleed status effect. It also does heavy critical damage with a critical modifier of 147. So if anything we fight is weak to bleed, or if we can parry it, this knife is great. If it is not weak to either of those, we'll have a pretty tough time. The standard rules apply. I can only deal damage with the Bandit's Knife. Any armor, rings, and or buffs are okay to use. And without further ado, let's get started. I start by making a character. My comedic genius is unrivaled, I know. I picked the Thief starting class because it starts with the Bandit's Knife. Thanks, Oscar! Alright, now that I've gotten my weapon of choice, let's try it out. 232 damage right off the bat. That is not too shabby. Though that's after parrying an enemy. If I just slash at them normally, the damage leaves a lot to be desired. The knife's short range also serves an issue, especially when fighting multiple enemies at once. I take off about a third of the Asylum Demon's health with one hit, then the rest of the fight is no issue. The demon is very weak to bleed, so I can proc it every 3 hits. For the first bit of the run, I'm going to be leveling only Dexterity until I hit the soft cap. I'll need all the damage I can get. In Undead Burg, I parry the Black Knight to death for a free Titanite chunk. I also take on Havel. We deal okay damage, but it still takes a lot of ripostes to kill him. First try, definitely. Up at the Taurus Demon, I apply some gold pine resin for a bit of extra damage, and demonstrate again why the Bandit's Knife is great. If only the damage was this good for the entire run. That's foreshadowing, by the way. I get another Titanite chunk from this fella, upgrade my dagger to +5, then get dexterity to 25. Now that's what I like to see. The good damage carries over into the bell gargoyles. When I can hit them, that is. I'm definitely starting to notice the short range of this weapon. I'm not used to having to be right up close and personal with these two, so I take a few hits. Not even close. I try to fight Lautrec normally for once, but he's so used to falling off the ledge, he just does it himself. I'll take that. I'll just rest at the bonfire, then— oh my god! So you just wanted to scare the life out of me and then leave. I respect that. Oh hey, another Bandit's Knife. You can't power stance 2 weapons like in Dark Souls 2 or Elden Ring, but you can hold one in each hand, and parry with the offhand. Besides looking cool, I'll find a use for a second knife later. When fighting the Capra Demon, I spectacularly miss the dogs, then get smacked over the head by Capra. Once I'm on the ledge, it's much easier to take out the dogs. For once, I don't hit the right wall when swinging there, due to the knife's short range. Our damage against the demon is actually really good, so it's not too long before I take them out. In the depths, I take the Large Ember, then free Laurentius from his ironclad cell. We'll need him later. Alright, time for the Gaping Dragon and— oh shoot, I forgot about the Channeler. That's fine. As expected, the damage is not good, but even with magic missiles up there, it's an easy fight. And with that, we are already at the Dexterity soft cap. Who needs health anyways? Down in Blight Town, I get incredibly lucky with large Titanite drops from the slug things. Seriously, that's 5 in one run, not including the freebie on the ground. I also grab Power Within for later. I die a few times to Quelaag, which is what I get for not leveling health. Because the damage is so low, she has more chances to spew lava, and I keep getting cornered by it. Eventually, I figure out that I just need to kite her away from the lava, and it's smooth sailing from there. I ring the bell, grab a Firekeeper soul, get yelled at for it, then get a Pyromancy flame from Laurentius.
Don't you dare go, Otto.
Same to you, friend. With all the Titanite shards from Blight Town, I can upgrade my Bandit's Knife to +9 already. This lets me one-shot the snakes in Sen's Fortress, which feels amazing. I go through the whole Indiana Jones thing in Sens, and then get the knife to +10. When I enter the Iron Golem's arena, I activate Power Within. For anyone who doesn't know, Power Within is a buff spell that increases all damage dealt by 40%, though it also drains your health gradually over the course of 100 seconds. Even with Power Within though, we're only dealing 51 damage per swing. And that's with a +10 weapon too. I'm also not used to being right up against this boss, so I die once or twice. On the winning attempt, I'm able to knock down the golem, which surprised me because this weapon does very little poise damage. But once I get the hang of his moveset, the Iron Golem falls. I was looking forward to Anor Londo because a lot of the enemies are parryable, though most of them tripped and fell off ledges before I could get to them. Alright, we all know what time it is. I target Smo in the first phase because, he's incredibly weak to slashing damage and bleeds, so he goes down without much of a fight. Phase 2 is where things get tricky. Super Ornstein is much more resistant to our dagger, and he can be hard to hit with short-range weapons. His attacks aren't very hard to avoid though, a lot of them just go right over your head. I am also able to proc bleed twice, which helps a lot. After a bit of patience, I finish off Ornstein. Guinevere gives me a bowl for my efforts, then I head over to fight the Moonlight Butterfly. Because I don't have any ranged attacks, I have to wait a minute for her to perch. I'm pretty overleveled at this point, so once she does come down, I can take her out in one cycle. What is it with people falling off ledges today? Sif isn't too bad, my knife deals good damage and she bleeds. It can be a little difficult to hit her legs, but aside from that, it's a smooth fight. After that, I take the Hornet Ring from behind the grave. It boosts critical damage by 30%, making our parries and backstabs even more powerful. I turn my second Bandit's knife into a divine weapon. I told you I'd find a use for it. Then I go down into the catacombs. I make a pit stop to grab the Dark Moon Seance Ring, then I fight Pinwheel. Is Power Within overkill for this fight? Yes. Will I still use it? Yeah. I like this weapon. In Nito's arena, I expertly roll through his attacks, then I use my divine knife to take out the skeletons. I then switch over to my normal bandit's knife for the rest of the fight. My knife isn't long enough to hit Nito through his cloak, so I have to be facing his front side. It's a long and tedious battle, but I take down Kar's jaw on the first try. A bird mistakes me for an egg, then it takes me back to the Undead Asylum. Just like the Asylum Demon, the Stray Demon bleeds every 3 hits. He's no issue. At this point, we can one-shot pretty much anything that can be parried. This build is awesome for regular enemies. I can't exactly throw my knives at Guinevere, which is why I got the Dark Moon Seance Ring. This lets me fight Gwendolyn without killing Guinevere. Nothing too interesting happens in this fight, just run up, slash, repeat. And now the real reason I came here. Fashion. I don't have enough endurance to wear the full brass set, but I think it actually looks good with the black leather chest piece. I make the usual run through the painted world, then take on Priscilla. At first, I'm a little worried because I might not deal enough poise damage to knock her out of invisibility, and I also have to be right next to her to land any hits. Thankfully though, she decided to stay in one spot long enough for me to end her invisibility. She also bleeds pretty easily, so she goes down before too long. I do some ghost busting in New Londo ruins, then grab the very large ember. Up to this point, I've been getting as many Titanite chunks as I can, so I'm able to get the Bandit's knife to plus 15 straight away. I put on the full brass armor set for the 4 kings, then... Comically falling off ledges seems to be a trend in this run, I don't know why. I actually do a really good damage against the kings. I can take out one before the next even spawns. Geez, I don't think I even needed to put the full armor set on. I take out my lookalike, then head into the Duke's archives. This time around, I can actually hit the prison guard. Yes, I'm still salty about the bow only run. Damn, this outfit looks good. I quit out because I don't feel like dealing with the clams, and then Seath is easy enough to deal with. Our damage isn't half bad, and you can easily avoid all of his crystal attacks by running away. That's 3 out of 4 Lord Souls, time for the Demon Ruins. As per usual, Ceaseless ceases to live after 7 hits. Just like its brethren, the Demon Fire Sage bleeds really easily. Plus the absurd damage the knife deals every swing, this boss is a joke. When I manage to hit it, the Centipede Demon isn't too bad. All the bosses in this area seem to be weak to slashing damage. I still have a really hard time reading this boss's attacks, but they go down on the second try. The Bed of Chaos isn't anything interesting. I smack the plant things, it shoves me down a pit, the usual. I kill the Hydra with surprisingly little issue, talk to Dusk, get the MacGuffin, and now we can start the DLC. This should be a lot more challenging than the base game. Actually, I take that back. Aside from spamming projectiles at the start, the Sanctuary Guardian doesn't put up much of a fight. Wow, I'm sure the rest of the DLC will be that easy. I died over and over and over to this boss. We deal very little damage, and we have very few opportunities to hit. We also don't do enough poise damage to stop Artorias from buffing, so that's great. At first, I tried playing defensively and waiting out the buff phase, but Artie just buffs again before it runs out. So that's a no-go. I tried staying up close, I tried keeping my distance, but none of it worked. I guess I'll just have to use the age-old strategy. Get good. And, after an hour or two, I got good. After I started to really get the hang of his moveset, it was only a matter of time before Artorias fell. I still can't reliably dodge that spin attack though. Dramatically falling off cliffs is really starting to get old. Okay, Manus. Historically, I struggle with this boss more than Artorias, so I'm scared. Though actually, it isn't too bad. There's a lot of time to get hits in, at least compared to Artorias. Though because I have to stay up close, I have a hard time getting out of the way of his wombo combo. I also panicked and forgot how to respond to some of his magic attacks. After a few deaths, and more than a few close calls, Manus goes down. I get burned alive by Biff the Magic Dragon, then Gove takes care of him. It takes a minute to get reacquainted with Calameet's moveset, but there's plenty of time to... Wait, was that bleed? Calameet can bleed? Of all bosses, I didn't expect to be able to proc bleed on this one. Well, the more you know. With the help of my new discovery, I actually take down Calameet on the first try. Alright, last boss. This should be easy. With the 147 critical modifier from the Bandit's Knife, the 30% extra damage from the Hornet Ring, and the 40% extra damage from Power Within, Wind falls after no less than 3 parries. A fitting end to this run. Using only the Bandit's Knife had a lot of ups and downs, but it was a ton of fun. It was great for enemies that could be parried or backstabbed, or anything weak to slashing or bleed. Not so great for anything else. It forced me to get right up close and personal with everything, which is a playstyle I'm not used to. It was really fun once I got the hang of it though. Anyhow, I'll stop rambling. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye guys, goodbye.